I want a divorce.
I don't mind, but I won't pay alimony. You don't have any money, since you don't work. Are you okay with that?
Protecting my happiness is much more important than money. I don't want to stay in this house, and moreover, I don't want to live with a man like you. I'll definitely get a divorce and make you pay. My name is Rachel, born and raised in the countryside. At 58, I enjoy gardening when it gets warm. I love the peaceful rural atmosphere, but there was a time in my life when I resented the countryside. I was in my 20s then. And after graduating from high school, I got a job at a local department store that was said to only accept elite students. And I think I lived a more glamorous life than others my age. One day, my boss told me that a valued customer was coming and assigned me to serve accompany that person. And that person was my husband, Evan. His family had a Congress representative, and even though Evan wasn't directly related to him, his family ran extensive businesses locally. Being the eldest son, Evan was set to inherit the family and its business, making him influential in the area. But there are many competitive businesses in the field. It may be hard to succeed if they decide to expand their business into the city. However, despite having many competitors, he was almost like a local king. Because of my assignment to show him around the store, he took a liking to me. People around me said things like, "You're so lucky," "I'm jealous," and "Your future is secure." But I wasn't happy at all. The Spencer family, Evan's family, had a lot of bad rumors. They were said to be arrogant, quick to fire employees they didn't like, and known for secretly approaching cute female employees and making many of them their lovers. I had no idea what was true. But where there's smoke, there's fire. There must have been some problems. Evan's approach was persistent. No, intense. He would often wait in his car outside my workplace when I was about to go home. He gave me bouquets and took me to fancy restaurants, expressing his affection in various ways. As I got to know him, I started to think he might be a sincere and good person despite the rumors, and we began dating. This led to our marriage. Right after we got married, his parents gave us a house as a wedding gift. I was taken aback since all I knew was to give more modest wedding gifts. Watching my husband accepting it as if it were natural, it reminded me that we lived in different worlds. I never imagined this house would become a virtual devil's den. Once I started living under the same roof as my husband, his mother frequently visited our home. Her visits had no specific purpose. She just vented about her husband all day. Apparently, she had a lot of grievances against him. She would complain endlessly about him not paying attention to her, being ungrateful, or how he behaved during a fight 10 years ago. Her complaints extended beyond her husband to the way the driver spoke, the secretary's attitude, and even the neighbor's clothes. Listening to such complaints repeatedly was stressful. I was told a daughter-in-law of the Spencer family should not work outside unless she helps with the business. So I had to quit my job at the department store after getting married, leaving me no way to avoid her visits. Her visits, which used to be mostly on weekdays when my husband was not around, gradually extended to weekends. This was a problem. Despite being newlyweds, my husband began to spend more time away from home. His mother adored him and had high standards for his wife, requiring me to be someone she approved of. I wasn't highly educated, from a prestigious family, or good at housework, but apparently my face and modest demeanor were appreciated. A Spencer wife shouldn't be an assertive woman and must always walk a few steps behind her husband. And perhaps my opposite from flashy appearance was appreciated. For the first time, maybe my monolid turned out to be useful too. I can't bring myself to say, "You told me that story before," because she took my natural fear of talking to people from influential families as modesty. 6 months into the marriage, my husband rarely came home, and I began to wonder if I married him or his mother. One night I discovered my husband was cheating. I accidentally saw him kissing a woman in the back seat of the company car through the window when he returned home. The driver didn't seem particularly disturbed. Once my husband finished his interaction with the woman, the car smoothly drove away as if the driver was used to my husband's infidelity. "Hey, who was that just now?" Naturally, I confronted my husband, who entered the house nonchalantly. I couldn't forgive infidelity less than a year into our marriage, especially after his intense pursuit before marriage. However, his reaction was far from what I expected.
Don't make a fuss over just 1 or 2 women. Now go and get my dinner ready.
I was speechless as he removed his tie and headed for the living room. He wasn't even trying to hide it, but instead brazenly dismissed it. Wait, explain. Who was that woman?
Shut up. She's from work. She's new, so I'm looking after her.
But you're a manager, right? That's not your job. What exactly are you taking care of?
Oh, I'm tired. Be quiet.
He forcefully shook off my hand and pushed me by the shoulder, making me fall back.
Go and cool off. I'm going to go take a bath because I'm in a bad mood.
Leaving only a cold glance, he actually went to take a bath. The sound of the shower echoed emptily in the room, making me deeply regret why I married such a person. The next day, my mother-in-law came to the house as usual, but she was clearly in a bad mood. The first thing she said to me was, "Rachel, sit down." What? As I stood there confused, the secretary who had come into the room with her forcibly held me down and made me kneel on the floor. What is this? "I heard you yelled at Evan last night when he was tired from work. Is that something a wife should do?" How do you know about that? But Evan was kissing a woman in front of the house. It's only natural to ask what that was about. "Evan told me to give you a stern lesson. A woman of the Spencer family would tolerate 1 or 2 women outside." Tolerate infidelity? You're telling me to turn a blind eye? "Noblemen in the old days kept many women as mistresses. That's what it means to hold power." I couldn't accept it. This family was definitely strange. That's enough. I'm going to divorce Evan. The moment I said it, tears welled up for the first time. Despite everything, I had liked my husband. I never imagined on our wedding day that I would be betrayed like this and choose to leave. However, "That's absurd. What are you saying?" My mother-in-law's fierce tone made me shrink back. After a deep sigh, she took out her phone and made a call. "Hello? Sorry, but could you come home for a bit? Is that okay? All right, see you soon." Hanging up, she glared at me and said, "We'll take you to our house." I resisted, but the secretary forcibly dragged me into the car and took me to my in-laws' house. Or rather, to the shed of my in-laws' house. Soon after we arrived, my father-in-law appeared. The person my mother-in-law had called was my father-in-law.
I heard you want a divorce?
He sneered as he asked. Yes.
Sorry, but we can't allow that. We don't want a scandal about a Spencer being left by his wife.
I don't care, As I tried to argue, my father-in-law grabbed my hair.
Listen, my words and Evan's words are absolute. You have no right to refuse. Cool your head until you understand that.
With that, he roughly released my hair, making me stagger backward.
Let's go,
he said, and my mother-in-law left with him saying, Good luck. Hearing the lock click shut, I realized I was trapped. I pounded on the door and screamed, Let me out! But the secretary-like person just said,
I can't do that,
through the door and ignored me afterward. 12 hours later, locked in the hot and humid shed, I was on the verge of dehydration when I was finally released. My mother-in-law handed me a bottle of water, asking, Has your head cooled down? I drank the water desperately, feeling nauseous and completely exhausted. Far from cooling down, I couldn't think at all. Led inside the house by my mother-in-law, I saw my husband and a woman sitting beside him.
Have you reflected on your actions, Rachel? If you've understood your mistake, I'm willing to forgive you. I mean, I like you too.
Seeing my husband smile, I felt a chill down my spine. There's no use in trying to communicate with this person.
Also, from today, this person will live with us. This is Kate, so get along.
Looking at the woman, a scene floated into my hazy mind. This was the woman Evan had kissed. What are you thinking? Why should I live with your affair partner?
Hey, do you have a problem with that?
Of course I do. This is wrong. This house is crazy. Not just you, but your mother and father too. All of you. The air in the room froze after my words, but I didn't think I was wrong at all. You dare insult not just Evan, but his father as well. My husband cut in to calm my furious mother-in-law.
You said you wanted a divorce, right? Do you understand what will happen to you and your family if you do?
I glared back at my husband's cold stare. I'll do it. Divorce me.
Fine, but I won't pay any alimony. You don't have money since you don't work, right? Can you manage?
My husband smirked, thinking I would come back if he dangled money in front of me. That must have worked before. I don't mind. I want a divorce. With a sigh, my husband told his affair partner.
Get the paper from the right side of the drawer.
She got up, took the paper from the drawer, and handed it to my husband as instructed.
Here, my father told me to keep this as a threat in case something happened. I've already signed it. Use it as you like.
He handed me a signed divorce paper. Good, I can cut ties with this family immediately.
Make sure you don't regret it.
I won't, no worries. Dragging my exhausted body, I was headed to the city office to file the divorce papers.
Wait, even if you're going to become a stranger, it would be shameful for a woman once related to a Spencer to be seen walking outside a night alone. Use our car. I'll assign a driver.
I grimaced openly at my father-in-law's words, suspecting they planned to trap me somewhere again. At that moment, Madison, a secretary, raised her hand. I'll go. She had accompanied me on all my shopping trips since the marriage.
Fine, you go.
My father-in-law ordered, and I, trusting Madison, got into the car and submitted the divorce papers. 2 weeks later, I suddenly got a call from my ex-husband who yelled at me right off the bat.
Don't mess with me.
What is it all of a sudden?
Don't play dumb. You're the culprit, aren't you? Because of you, we're losing clients left and right. What are you going to do about it?
Oh my, that's exactly what I intended, I'm glad. I chuckled, and he got even more frustrated.
I'll destroy your family.
He shouted over the phone. In fact, when I submitted the divorce papers, Madison handed me a pen in the car saying, Please use this. The contents were videos of me being scolded by my mother-in-law over my husband's affair, forcibly taken to the car by the secretary, and locked in the shed. There were also videos of my husband saying he wanted to live with his affair partner. Madison's sister had been almost forced into becoming my father-in-law's lover, and when she refused, she was fired from their group company. Madison and her sister had different last names because their parents had divorced and they each took one parent's name. That's why no one realized they were sisters, and Madison had been waiting for an opportunity for revenge. She always carried a pen-shaped miniature camera in her breast pocket to capture any scene that may be useful in the future.
Rachel, the treatment you received was too cruel. You're kind, always thanking even the secretaries. With this, your family will be safe. Use it however you like.
Saying this, she entrusted me with the data. Thus, armed with perfect material, I contacted a friend who worked at a publishing company. I intended to expose the true nature of that family. I had planned to do this after the divorce in the first place, but having evidence of the horrible treatment I received was invaluable. I sold the data to a magazine company, and the cruel reality of the family spread not only through magazines and newspapers, but also on social media. Given the family's connection to a Congress representative, it was no surprise that people would be interested in such a scandalous story.
Why did you have to expose even my parents' affairs?
I just wanted to bring all the filth of your family to light. If any power remained with your family, you'd ruin my family, right? I took up the sword to protect my family. Got a problem with that? During my daily lessons listening to my mother-in-law's complaints, she had confided about her lovers. Originally, she had an affair to get back at her husband for cheating. Even at 68, her lover was in his 20s, and she lavished him with gifts. She used to say, "If it weren't for this family's constraints, we'd be together already." But to her lover, she was just a wallet. She had had many lovers over the years, so it was a tit-for-tat situation.
Now, my father wants to divorce my mother. It's your fault.
Isn't the Spencer family supposed to stay married? Changing your stance so easily when you can't endure it anymore? Your father's quite small-minded.
Shut up. You can't talk big when you're the cause of all this.
Cause? Don't make me laugh. It's your parents' rampant infidelity that's to blame, and your affair that led to our divorce.
What am I supposed to do if this house collapses? I'm the only one who has to inherit and rebuild the family business. I'll lose everything.
His voice was getting tearful. It was his own fault, so I found his whining pathetic. If you're so attached to the house and company, then work hard and rebuild it from scratch. Don't you have any spirit to start over? It's pathetic that you can't do anything without an advantage from the beginning.
Shut up. You can't understand the pressure of living up to expectations as the sole heir.
Do you really think you were the only one expected to inherit everything?
Of course.
Well, okay. You're the only decent son.
What do you mean? I'm an only child and you know that.
No, you have a half-brother.
That's a lie. What are you talking about?
Right after our divorce, I hired a detective through my parents' connections. But your family is so famous that information came out without needing a detective.
And this leads to me having a brother? Huh, ridiculous. I've never heard such a thing.
As he got angrier, I calmly explained his brother's existence. But it's true. You know Amelia Jones, the maid? Your father had a child with her. My ex-husband was speechless.
Amelia? With her?
Hearing a familiar name, he seemed to lean into the conversation. Yes, but he didn't acknowledge the child. Your mother, who was then newly married and childless, was very upset. Even when your mother was pregnant with you, your father favored his firstborn son and wanted him to inherit the family business. He even said so publicly. But when that didn't happen, he reluctantly had you as the heir. Your family's story is like a drama series, isn't it? In a small voice, my ex-husband muttered.
This can't be true.
His tone indicated that he no longer thought I was lying. So here's a question for you.
Huh?
He seemed displeasured by my sarcastic tone. Who is the true Spencer family heir?
What do you mean?
Well, you're a child from your mother's affair.
What?
Knowing about Amelia's pregnancy, your mother had an affair with the then driver and got pregnant with you.
That can't be true.
It is. Your father doesn't know, but there were people who knew about your mother's affair with your biological father.
No. I'm the rightful heir, or else all the things I've been through would be a waste.
He screams like a child. No, Amelia's son is the rightful heir, because you're not related to your father by blood. You can confirm it with a DNA test if you doubt me. It'll be interesting to see how you handle a family and company that's technically not even yours. Good luck then. Bye. I couldn't hide the smile that crept onto my face as I cheerily hung up. He was too shocked to say anything. After that, my leak led to more magazines exposing my ex-husband's family scandals. Not only was it revealed that he wasn't a Spencer by blood, but also his father's tax evasion and his mother's verbal abuse of the driver came to light. As a result, his family's downfall was quicker than I anticipated, and their business was shut down. In the local community, they became known as a despicable family, and now they've scattered and live humbly. Even though the relatives managed to live modestly, my ex-husband, whose face and name were publicized, struggled to find a job. He tried to order former subordinates to find him work, but no one listened to him, powerless, and this act was also published in magazines. Now, he's jobless. His parents divorced and remain unemployed, fighting over alimony. They were a wretched family till the end. Meanwhile, I begged and was rehired at the department store where I worked before marriage. I worked diligently, telling myself never to marry again, and got promotions as I got older and older. In my later years, I attended a school reunion and got along well with a classmate who was attending for the first time. Despite many invitations, he never joined reunions until he was in his 40s. He's not good with people and is quiet, but I found his unpretentious nature trustworthy and got married soon after. Our marriage is going well so far. My first marriage was tough, but it helped me see through people better and find my current husband after being single for a while. In that sense, my life hasn't been all bad. I even grew to feel grateful to my ex-husband.